and you're wonderful, and you can accomplish anything you want. Do you realize this is the first time in history that girls were actually given this message? You can accomplish anything. And it was given with such a vengeance that they heard, you should go out and accomplish everything. What we have now is a generation of women that are much more confident, that they do have the ability to speak up and out, and they have this restlessness. You're shaking your head, yes. Always wanting more and looking for that something more. I was amazed with some of these women that I interviewed that had accomplished great things, had moved into executive positions. This one woman, she kept going from company to company. She then became a lobbyist, and she spoke in Paris. And still, as soon as she was done, it's been there, done that, what's next? You know, they say there's not that many women in CEO positions, but in a lot of cases, it's because women aren't staying long enough. It's like, you know, if it gets to a point where I'm not getting the recognition I need, or it's just not that challenging, boom, they go somewhere else, unless the organization can provide them with that. So there's this phenomenon where there's this need for women to have motion and meaning in their lives. Underutilized, not appreciated, passed over, slowed down. I had one woman tell me when I was interviewing her, she said she was at lunch with her boss, and she was very excited about a project that she was working on. She was very passionate about it. And he goes, oh, slow down, girl, slow down. Have another biscuit. How long do you think she stayed at that company? She had a resume going that afternoon. You know, and I often tell many of the companies that I work for, if you don't think your high-achieving women have the resumes ready right now, you are mistaken. How is this truly affecting the women themselves? Now, Marcus Buckingham and his group with Gallup did a study, and they interpreted their research that women aren't as happy as they used to be. Well, you know, I said, I don't think happy is the word. And so I went back to my 100 women, and I said, in 1 to 3 words, tell me what you're missing in life. None of them came back with the word happiness. I think we're quite happy with the changes that are going on. We're quite happy with more opportunities. We're quite happy with the freedoms that, you know, we have and we're still fighting for. It's other things. What they came back to with me over and over again was, what I want is peace of mind. What I want is some contentment. It's like I'm on this hamster wheel. You know, or somebody's chasing me, and I've always got to be accomplishing something else, something more. And so what they told me they felt was a discontent. I never feel content with what I've done. In fact, I don't even give myself credit. Once I'm done, it's like, okay, been there, done that, no big deal, what's next? And then they're confused about what's their direction for the future, because they make decisions for the future based on what they don't want anymore and leaving. Not so much on a clear vision of what they want. And they often don't even have a sense of who they are internally, because everything was focused on, you can do something amazing. You should go out there and create something great, which is wonderful, but it's not balanced by a sense of self. Who would I be if I gave voice to my heart? What do I have imprisoned that's just crying to be free? Take a breath, ask yourself that question, and turn to your partner and share. I call it communities of support, but I'm also now calling it conspiracies of change. That we get together with at least, 2, 3 other women on a regular basis and have these conversations and have dialogues about who we are and what we're trying to create. Don't lose that, and find other women to do that with, so we don't get lost in the process. The other part of this is understanding that who I am is not what I do, and it's probably even more than who I think I am at the moment. One of the great moments in my career was actually when it happened. I was a little angry. But I was complaining to my boss about, this whole executive team just wasn't getting it. They didn't have a clue. How come they couldn't, get it quicker, what they needed to do? And he took my hand, and he patted it, and he says, "Dear, you can quit fighting now. You've made it." Now, I didn't like the way he gave me the message, but the message was truth. in order for me to establish what I had at that point, I had actually worked for a number of male-dominated companies, high-tech companies, and in order to move up into management, I had to be a fighter and I had to make my voice heard. But once I reached a point, being a fighter, being the warrior, wasn't serving me any longer. I had to learn how to be the collaborator, how to be the persuader, how to get them to align to my thinking. So if you recognize your archetypes and you say, you know, yes, I tend to be a revolutionary, I tend to be a teacher or a mentor, I'm a pretty good detective. Well, if you're in a situation and you're acting in a certain way, you're bringing forth this aspect, this what they call pattern of energy, and it's not working, then you ask your board of directors, what else would work for me right now? Off the top of your head, circle a few. You can circle up to 6, but I'm just going to give you a few minutes. Circle the ones you think are your dominant archetypes right now, and only 6. Okay? If you even just come up with 2 or 3, that's okay. But go through the list and pick your dominant archetypes, what you feel that you're putting forth in the world right now. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. My suggestion is that you take your dominant archetypes and the ones you want to develop and write them on Post-it notes, create a little circle. I have this woman that did that. She actually took a picture of it and posted it on Facebook. And she talks to her archetypes in the morning. Okay, archetype, who wants to come out today? And she thinks about what she has to do that day and what would be best for her to be. So that's one way of using it, and you can position them and put somebody in the middle of the circle, and that becomes your circle itself. But I always had this drive of proving I could be the best at something. Well, I think the drive just got too much for me in high school, and I started rebelling against it. And so later in my high school years, and even I had a year of community college under my belt, I did find one thing I could be the best at, and that was doing drugs. I was pretty good at it. I was so good, you'll like this story, I ended up earning myself an all-expense-paid 6 months vacation in the county jail. But you know what? It was an amazing experience, and not because of the jail so much as the women that were in there that taught me an important lesson about who I am as opposed to what I do. Because in there it didn't matter. I couldn't be doing any of those things. It was only who I was. And I found that, you know, people thought I was really funny, and I wrote poetry for the women to send to their children and to, you know, their partners. Yeah, and there was just so much that I did that, you know, I really connected with the women there. And then one time I was sitting there and I was feeling really sorry for myself. I'm just a failure in life. And this woman, she just, you know, she walked over to me and she kind of like pinned me against the wall and said, oh, would you just stop that? She said, do you not understand who you are? She says, you're so funny and you're smart and you're strong and you're passionate and you're determined and you care about people. Don't you know when you get who you are in here that you can do anything you really want to out there? And that was the moment that I realized there's a difference. And I took that out, and I did go back to community college and graduate, and, and then went on, and I graduated summa cum laude from Arizona State, and I have 2 master's degrees, got my doctorate, and I'm still working on being great. Which means every day I have to stop and remind myself, because this is wired into my brain, but I have to stop myself and say, who are you really, and what is it you're trying to accomplish? But it's truly to remember that who I am is what's most important. That if I can see women not just accomplish great things, because I know we can, but to do this with a clear sense of direction and a full-hearted sense of contentment. That's what I want to see next for women as we go out and we conquer the world. I want you to truly enjoy being extraordinary, to enjoy your extraordinary life, as well as your extraordinary accomplishments. Thank you.